Alright, once again it's time to enter the cage! And we're now covering the second in the Holy Trinity of Nicolas Cage films, Face Off. Yes, I already did a review for this, and yes, I did change the thumbnail because I want this picture for this one. So I changed the thumbnail for that one where they're just like facing off with the guns. So this one, change it to this picture. So you'll notice that my old review has this picture now, and the new review is going to have this one. Gotta have it in here. And it's probably going to be a longer review, a little more in depth, so to speak. This is one of my favorite movies, and I enjoy it every time I watch it. It gets better every time I watch it, and I just can't get enough of this movie. I love it so much. Spoilers for my my score, by the way, my rating. But anyway, I consider this one of the quintessential Nicolas Cage films to watch, and so there it is. Before I begin my review, I am going to make an announcement. I've decided I'm just going to stick with Nicolas Cage for now. Rick Moranis is good, but I noticed that going back and forth between them, Nicolas Cage has a certain way, and Rick Moranis has another way. Like, I watched Snake Eyes and then Little Shop of Horrors followed by Con Air. There's a little bit of a, difference between those movies. But we're sticking with Nicolas Cage for now. So we got Face Off. And in this movie, Nicolas Cage plays Castor Troy, a criminal/terrorist who's planted a bomb. And his enemy is Sean Archer, FBI agent played by John Travolta. We start off with Castor Troy, but Nicolas Cage has a mustache in this one scene for some reason, and he goes to shoot Archer, but doesn't kill him, instead killing Archer's son. And it's very John Woo, it's very slow motion fantasy kind of thing. Yeah, the opening is kind of weird, but it establishes that, Castor Troy did something, Archer's trying to track him down. So we cut to now, some years later, and Troy is going to blow up something. He's got a bomb set up, but he gets away to an airstrip. Say anything about an airstrip. And Archer tracks him down. So during this, we get the Nicolas Cage. We got, hallelujah, as he dances. And then he feels up a woman in the chorus. And he gets that look. It's just the best Nicolas Cage you could ever Nicolas Cage. It turns out one of the ladies on his plane is working for the FBI. The one he was just had his tongue down her throat. You suck my tongue. I don't know. I guess she works hard for the money. Anyway, so during this standoff, we get more Nicolas Cageisms as Archer is like, "You got one bullet left, so do you." And then there's no bullets in Castor's gun, but he had twin gold guns in his hand, and now he's only got one, and there's no bullets left. And so Archer has him at gunpoint, which he says the line, "Go ahead and shoot, 'cause I don't give a fuck. I'm ready for the big ride, baby." But there's this jet engine that knocks him back and quote-unquote kills him. According to Archer, he's dead, but they find out he's actually in a coma, which, how did he not know he was in a coma? So they find out that there's actually a bomb somewhere. He tries to tell his superior, Archer does. He doesn't believe. He's like, "You got no proof." I'm like, what? There was a disc, schematic for the bomb. How is there no proof? But CCH Pounder comes in. CHH Pounder, whatever her name is. Is she on the cast last year? No, of course not. She's only got a cameo. She shows up and she goes, "There might be another way." And they do the detective scene. There is another way. And then it cuts to them going to another facility. But I have a question. As she's talking to him at first, she lights a cigarette, right? And when it cuts to them walking into another building, she's still got the cigarette in hand. And it hasn't moved. Is that the same cigarette or is it a different one? Because it hasn't, like, she lit it, she took a couple puffs, but it hasn't, like, went down at all. You telling me she's able to hold that to the whole, it's got to be a different one, right? I don't know, it just kind of bugged me. And we go in and we see that Castor Troy is still alive but in a coma. And they made a weird choice here. So when we first see him, it's Nicolas Cage laying there on the bed. But then she puts the cigarette out on his arm to demonstrate that he's in a coma and doesn't feel anything. And when it cuts back to Nicolas Cage, it's a dummy. And I'm like, why does it have to be the dummy? It doesn't. It looks like Nicolas Cage, but it doesn't. It's that Uncanny Valley type thing. And I found it weird. Why does it have to cut back to the dummy? I don't understand. So she says that what they're going to do is they're going to take Cage's face off and put it on Travolta's body. And they're also going to do other things to Travolta's body, such as mess with his hair, get rid of his scar that he's got from being shot, all that stuff. I'm guessing I also make Travolta lose a couple pounds because they're not the same weight. The only thing is that they have different blood types, but Castor's brother won't be able to tell. Castor's brother, by the way, is played by Billy from Jurassic Park 3. Alan! Yes, that guy. So, they put him in this maximum security prison and don't tell anyone. Why? I understand he's got to be in deep cover, but you think if you're doing an operation within a prison, you got to at least tell the warden. I mean, that is the same problem I have with Escape Plan, is they set this up, but they don't tell anyone that they're setting this up. And he's just supposed to be rescued by someone who comes in to get him later. But of course, it doesn't work. He's gonna infiltrate in. He's gonna get He's gotta get to Castor Troy's brother. I can't remember the name. Pollux, because of Greek mythology, Castor and Pollux. Anyway, he gets in there and he does find out that it's in the LA Convention Center. So now he's done it, right? But Nicolas Cage wakes up, or the real Castor Troy wakes up, and he's got no face, yet can still hold a cigarette in his mouth and talk at the same time, despite not having lips. Yep. And you know he does because they show him the reflection of the surgeon's eyes talking with the cigarette in his mouth. You can hold it in your teeth, but you can't talk with it in your teeth or it'll fall out. I don't smoke, but I'm not stupid either. It's a movie, but come on. Nicolas Cage looks pretty good without the gnarly effects on his face. That's pretty cool. And then he gets the surgeon to put Archer's face on his body and do all that stuff. Then he kills the surgeon, H.H. Pounder, and Archer's best friend, and takes over Archer's life. He finds the bomb, where we get another Nicolas Cage line, although delivered by John Travolta, where it's more Jim Carrey, where he's like, our side's got the ball. Interception. Our side's got the ball now. Sorry. It's John Travolta being Nicolas Cage. And then you got Nicolas Cage trying to be Nicolas Cage when he starts that fight. And there's, woo! Just, I'm Castor Troy. I'm Castor Troy. It's giving me flashbacks to Vampire's Kiss. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. But you know what I mean. Oh, fantastic. So then Troy as Archer shows up to gloat to Archer as Troy that he's taken over. And, you know, basically, I'm gonna take over your life. He becomes the hero. And then he sort of becomes a better husband and father, sort of. But that's where people might be divided. Well, he's a better husband and father. Is that a good thing? He's a psychopath. And also, Archer didn't purposely become a bad husband and father. He was fueled by revenge to try to get Troy, right? That's all it was. Just saying. But anyway, so eventually Archer as Troy finds a way to get out. He convinces another prisoner who apparently Troy had sex with his wife and sister at the same time. Convinces them that, no, I didn't do any of that stuff. Let's get out of here. I don't know why that works, but it does. The guy dies because you can't have both of them escape. He escapes, and of course, much like Escape Plan, they're on this thing in the middle of the water, and the helicopter shoots at him, and he jumps into the water, and they pronounce him dead. Again. Of course, he's not dead. He shows up, and he reconnects with Troy's gang, including this guy who's not the guy from Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I thought it was, but it's not. And he's like, he's so weird. He's like, oh, hey. It's like, okay, even when he gets shot, he's like, hey, man, remember all those good times we had together? It's like, dude, you get shot, you're dying. There's this one. And you're so just coy. He does it to protect his sister. Then he tells her to go, and he kisses his sister on the mouth, and she runs off with the kid, because they find out that Castor Troy has a kid, and this is the one plot line that I don't care for from this film. Because from the moment this kid's introduced, you know what's going to happen. He's going to be the substitute for Archer's son, Michael, and that's exactly what they do. And to me, that's the only thing that weighs this movie down, is that they just had to do that. Oh, he lost one kid, so let's give him another. You have Gina Gershon playing the mother of this kid, by the way, who's Archer's girlfriend, I guess. After the guy is killed, Archer as Troy tries to convince his wife that he is who he is, so he says, he starts telling her stuff like, their first date or whatever, and then he's like, check the blood types, they won't match. And so, Castor Troy is O negative, I'm O negative, he's AB positive or AB, whatever. And so she does check the blood type, and I like how Castor Troy is kind of on it. He shows up at the hospital the next day thinking that something's going on, but she's like, oh, I'm on call, and he's like, oh, okay. And then I get a confusing scene. This one confused me. So the head of the FBI or whatever, this guy, Varetto, whatever his name is, Archer's superior and longtime friend, I think. He starts having heart problems. So Troy as Archer punches him in the chest and causes a heart attack, I guess, and he dies. He's shown that he's having heart. So he does this. I don't know how that works. Then there's a funeral, and then Archer's Troy shows up with doves because John Woo, and then there's this shootout. The FBI are informed of what actually happened, which, does she show proof, the blood test thing? Because I don't know how she proves to them, but there's a shootout, there's a boat chase thing, which you can clearly tell is their stunt doubles, but I don't care. I love the boat chase and the explosions and stuff like that. It's just, it was the first thing filmed. It's pretty cool chasing. You can tell it's the stunt doubles. They don't look anything like Travolta or Cage, but just saying. And then we get a standoff where Archer as Troy has Troy is Archer. I was gonna say Archer has Troy, and he's trying to convince his daughter that it's him. He's got his voice working again because they have this little chip that messes the voice up. How convenient. But he's got his voice working, but she still doesn't believe him. She shoots him in the arm. And then Troy gets free and takes the daughter hostage, which she has this weird bewildered look on her face, like, what? And then, like, there's a shootout, and Cage starts cutting his own face, or Travolta, I should say, like, Troy starts cutting his face, like, the face thing, and he gets, like, what do you call that? A harpoon through the gut. And once again here, I'm ready for the big ride, baby, as he dies, and he's dead. They do the procedure, Travolta gets his face back, and he comes home to his wife and his daughter. They have a big old hug, and he's like, oh, hey, by the way, there's this kid. He's Castor Troy's kid, by the way, but I don't care. Neither should you. We're gonna take him in now. And, like, he's like, I got a favor to ask. And he shows the kid. And the little girl's like, hi, I'm Jimmy. And he's like, will you show him where his room is? And I'm just like, what? And then he, like, nods to his wife. He's like, okay? She's like, okay. I'm like, really? Let's back up for a minute here. You've been through this traumatic experience where your son was accidentally murdered by Castor Troy. And now, your husband wants you to adopt that murdering psychopath's illegitimate child for your own. Let that sink in. That's what Archer wants to do. Adopt the son of the man who murdered their son. And yes, I do see what this is supposed to mean. He took their son, so they took his son. But I still find it unbelievably stupid. I truly believe this was unnecessary. You could have just had their welcome home moment. You didn't need to write this kid into the film. It's the only thing in the film that I really don't like about it. But because it is a bit of a nitpick for me, I'm not going to let it weigh down. Face Off. It's a fantastic film. I love it from beginning to end. And for me, Face Off can go to the moon, baby. Because it's a perfect score for me. Yes. So now, that's 2/3 of the Holy Trinity of Nicolas Cage films. Time to tackle the third. A movie that I should have seen a long time ago, but haven't. The Rock. No, not Dwayne The Rock Johnson either, but The Rock. That's the next one. So, till then, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what your thought on Face Off is. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.